Welcome to Reddit Tell All. Today we have a story from r/relationship advice, and the OP has requested some advice on the situation that she is currently going through, so make sure you leave all of your comments down below. My 31 female fiance, 30 male, and my friend, 32 female, are attracted to each other. Advice, please. My fiance and friend, we'll call her Ashley, are attracted to each other and subtly flirt with each other, and I'm not too sure where to go from here. They have much more in common in terms of hobbies and interest, i.e. both are big into gaming, computers, Lego, guitar, personality types, etc. Ashley, who is single, has described my fiancé as having golden retriever energy, and then later said that she is looking for a partner with the same kind of energy and traits that he has. My fiancé has subtly mentioned that he thinks it would be cool to buy a house, a future goal of ours, and have friends, meaning Ashley, come live with us. He's mentioned that he really likes Ashley's personality, and I agree. She's very talkative, bubbly, and fun to be around. We went over to Ashley's a little while ago so fiancé could help her with some DIY home improvement stuff. I noticed that fiancé dressed slightly different, like wore nicer clothes than usual when we were getting ready to go over. When we got there, I noticed Ashley was extra bubbly around fiancé. It was then that they discovered their mutual love for the same games, how both of them have a desire to build their own PC, etc. They even finished each other's sentence when making the same joke. Fiancé also kept pointing out little minor safety infractions around Ashley's place in a joking manner, sort of subtly implying that he wanted her to be safe and protected, etc. To which Ashley would just kind of giggle and be like, oh, it's fine. Ashley also made a comment about how she's been talking with a guy off Tinder who has flaked on her a few times, and basically said that all Tinder guy had to do was come and help her with what fiancé was helping her do around her place, and she would have let him smash, so to speak. A few weeks ago, fiancé's friend, myself and Ashley went to an escape room together. At the end, Ashley accidentally brushed her hand against the front of my fiancé's pants, then looked at him and laughed. Fiancé just shook his head and laughed, and we moved on. They didn't know that I saw, but of course I did. All in all, I've just noticed lots of subtly flirting going on between them. I didn't let it show that I was bothered while we were at Ashley's a little while ago because I didn't want to make things awkward. But on the way home, I was kind of quiet and distant, processing my thoughts and feelings. Fiancé could tell something was up and tried to be extra nice. He did ask me if something was wrong or if I wanted to talk, but I just said no, because I felt like if I had started talking about it at that time, I'd get too emotional. It just got me thinking about the fact that fiancé proposed to me a little after 1 year together, technically when we were still in the honeymoon phase. We've been together 2.5 years now and have lived together for most of this time. It also got me thinking that maybe by being with me, fiancé is being held back from being with someone who he could be happier and more compatible with. Not saying Ashley specifically, but even someone like her. Fiancé's ex was similar to Ashley in terms of being a huge gamer, very chatty, sociable, and adventurous with lots of friends, etc. For reference, I'm definitely more quiet and introverted, don't have a lot of friends or family, and I'm not big into gaming and anime. I'm still working on discovering more hobbies and interests that I'm passionate about, but there are a few things I enjoy, like reading, knitting, crocheting, learning about space and the universe, etc. I have a therapy appointment in a few weeks where I plan on discussing my feelings. I just wanted to get r/relationship advice take on the matter. Any advice or insight would be appreciated. Thanks. It sounds like this woman is feeling like she's not good enough. There is definitely nothing wrong with being a bit more on the quiet side and introverted, as she said, and not having a large social circle. This woman has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, and I'm pretty sure her fiance wouldn't have proposed to her if that bothered him. On the other hand, I was hearing some major red flags between her fiance and her friend, especially when she said about the escape room and him getting dressed up to go around to her friend's place. To me, it sounds like they may be having a secret relationship, but who knows? There is more to this story, so let's just get straight on with that now. Update. I have talked to my fiance, who adamantly swore there were no feelings for her and was really blindsided by me bringing this up to him. He repeatedly told me he loved me, did not feel like he was too hasty in proposing to me, and that his feelings for me have not changed at all. He said there may have been feelings or attraction on her part towards him, but he was completely oblivious to it if there was anything. And those feelings or attraction were absolutely not reciprocated by him. He agreed that we should keep our distance from Ashley and said he was 100% good with not having her in our lives if need be, if it meant keeping his and my relationship on good terms. In terms of having her live with us, he said he was not talking about Ashley exclusively, but also a friend or two of his, but also included Ashley because he considered her a friend of mine. I guess maybe I jumped the gun a bit, assuming he was only talking about Ashley. My mistake. In regards to her brushing against his crotch at the escape room, he did acknowledge that this happened, but told me he brushed it off like it was nothing because he figured it was an accident. To be fair, his back was towards me when this happened, and I could only see that Ashley had tried to hold eye contact with him and giggled when it happened. I only saw the backside of him. He shook his head, kinda laughed, and then kept walking. I mentioned that it made me feel like maybe he was settling for less with me in a way because it seemed he and I had less in common than he and Ashley did. He reassured me that things like video games, guitar, music, etc. was just surface level stuff to have in common with a partner. He told me that our common values and goals mean way more to him than whether I can keep up with him in video games or not. We talked for a good long while and I do feel a lot better about the whole thing. My fiance is just an overall very friendly, positive, outgoing kind of person. So maybe I was looking at his efforts to be nice in a social situation as more than it really was. I do still plan on bringing this all up to my therapist in a few weeks to work on myself so I can bring my best self forward in our relationship. As for Ashley, I have not yet made a solid decision on what to do about her, but a lot of this negative behaviour seems to be stemming from her. I am going to keep my interactions with her to a very basic and bare minimum, especially until I can discuss all of this with a therapist and get some solid insight on how to deal with it. As a further update, I will just add a bit more context to my conflicting feelings towards Ashley. Yes, we did only meet 6 months ago, but she has told me a few times already that she is so glad we met and that she is thankful to have me as a friend. And I've reciprocated those feelings every time. She struggles with mental health issues, depression, anxiety, ADHD, neurodivergence. She goes to see a therapist for these issues. When her and I hung out last week, she had told me that she was struggling with suicidal thoughts at times and shared the same with her therapist. Her therapist got her to identify 2 people in her life that she could call if ever these feelings became stronger. And Ashley identified me as one of the people she felt close enough to talk to about this. So even though we did only meet 6 months ago, you can see how we have grown closer in this time, which just made her behaviour towards my fiance very confusing. I struggle to understand why she would potentially risk our friendship over being over the top flirty and inappropriate towards him. So all I would say in that regards is, yes, you can get to know someone quite well in 6 months, but even with friends, you still have a kind of honeymoon period. So you don't necessarily see all their flaws or the bad side of them. So I would say just keep her at arm's length. You could still be very good friends with this person and be there and support her, but just make sure that you aren't blindsided by this. I'm still suspicious. I just feel like sometimes you have to trust your instincts. She has responded to a few comments, which adds a little bit more to the story. So I'm just going to read out the comment and then her response to the comment. You're not being oversensitive. Their flirtatious behaviour was inappropriate and they did that in your face. You don't think they would cheat, but you mentioned what happened at the escape room. I believe Ashley made a move on your fiance and she just passed it off as being accidental. That was not accidental. She is giving your fiance subtle hints that he has a chance with her, especially when she mentioned she would let her Tinder matches smash if they were doing what your fiance was doing for her. She's obviously not being a good friend to you. You need to confront them both and make your boundaries loud and clear. But if you want to keep your relationship, you need to speak up and don't let your fiance shut you down. True. It was almost as if they thought I wouldn't catch on to the playful teasing or flirting. I did though. I honestly don't believe my fiance would cheat. Ashley is more difficult to gauge though. I have only known her for 6 months. She is extremely open and has no filter when it comes to talking about sex and just other sorts of topics. The average person would be like, should I say this out loud in front of others? Like I mentioned, she is really fun, talkative, easy to be around. I guess that's what appealed to me about her because I find it difficult to make new friends and be around others. But yeah, I don't know. If I cut ties with her, I worry my fiance will look at me like I'm crazy or possessive. Maybe going forward in the future, I can just try to minimize the times my fiance and her are around each other. I don't know. He is already acting like I'm kind of nuts for thinking he has any attraction towards her. I agree with everyone that you need to talk with your fiance about this. What is really telling for me is how you said he was being extra nice to you afterwards and asking you what was wrong. That to me makes it sound like he knows why you were upset and he knows what he was doing was wrong and he's trying to cover his ass. I confronted him and told me that he has absolutely no feelings for her, which is hard for me to believe. I strongly think he does find her attractive, but his guy logic is telling him not to admit that, as it might cause even more friction. I did tell him that it's okay to feel some attraction for someone else, even when in a committed long-term relationship. We're all human, and that part of us can't be turned off like a light switch. I went on to tell him where it becomes problematic is when that attraction is acted upon. He just continued to refuse that he had any feelings towards Ashley, and the only reason he came to do the DIY home improvement stuff is because of me. She is my friend after all. Some of her responses to the comments makes me feel even more suspicious than I did already. It sounds like he is gaslighting her, telling her that she's crazy to even think it and it's all in her head. She has some genuine concerns that would concern anyone. I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound like it's just in her head and her being paranoid. This woman probably doesn't always trust her own judgment. I really hope that her fiance isn't cheating, but all of my spidey senses are saying that he is. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about this story, and what advice would you give OP if you were in this situation. Leave all your comments below. And if you did like the video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will see you all very soon.